Mandela was locked up because he spoke out against the South African government and its racist policies. For more than 27 years, he was behind bars and wrote letters to friends and families. Many of those letters are now the heart of a new book, The Prison Letters of Nelson Mandela. Here's one of the letters he wrote to his granddaughter, read by her.
Your birth was a great relief to us. Only 3 months before this, Mommy had spent 15 days in jail under circumstances that were dangerous for a person in her condition. We did not know what harm might have been done to you and to her health, and were happy indeed to be blessed with a healthy and lovely daughter. Do you understand that you were nearly born in prison? Not many people have had your experience of having been in jail before they were born.
Here with us is that granddaughter, Swati Dlamini Mandela, and also Sam Venter, who helped put this book together over 10 years. We're holding the book over here as well. Thank you so much for all the good work that all of you have done in bringing this to life. What did that letter mean to you?
Well, that letter and so many of the letters meant a lot to me because it gave me such depth and insight into my grandfather's time in prison. I think it also just opened me up to my family's experiences of what that time was like for them, particularly my mom and my aunt, as well as my grandmother. For me, I think it just made me, sort of really understand what my family all sacrificed, because it wasn't just my grandfather, but my mom and my aunts and my uncles, as well as my grandmother.
I mean, was this your main way of communicating with him?
Absolutely. I mean, I think it was his main way of communicating with his family, his friends, with his colleagues, with the officials. And for my mom and my aunt and my grandmother, it meant everything to them. I think the visitation was so limited. They could only see him, I think, once a year, and only for them, my mom and my aunt, when they were 16. So letters was all they had in order to communicate with each other.
Sam, you've been working on this project for a decade. There are a lot of letters in here that have never been seen before. What are the big takeaways, the most surprising things we learned from reading these letters?
I think we get right into the heart and soul of Nelson Mandela. These letters take us into the cell with him, what it was like at the time, all in his own words, written at the time throughout his imprisonment, from the first letters written in November 1962 and the last one on the day of his release.
And we've got pictures we want to show of his time in prison and what that prison cell looked like. Mm-hmm. You say this is the heart and soul of Nelson Mandela. What is the heart and soul of Nelson Mandela?
A man who never gave up on his dignity, who had a vision to change South Africa and the world potentially, who believed in human rights, did not believe in any kind of discrimination. So I think that this book is really important for the world today.
Why do you think he was able to do this? Why do you think he was able to have so much love in his heart after this extraordinary experience he went through?
I think my grandfather was the same person going in and going out. I think he matured over time, but I think he had a deep sense of purpose and what he was working towards, and I think he wasn't going to give up that ideal for anything. And I think that that's kind of what really got him through his time in prison. I think he was working towards the greater good, and for him, sacrificing his life was everything in order to deliver democracy.
Well, we're now celebrating his 100th birthday, and the world is celebrating, including former President Barack Obama. He was just in South Africa. The first major speech of his post-presidency was about Nelson Mandela. What did that mean to you?
Well, I mean, I think President Barack Obama had a great respect for my grandfather and vice versa. I think it's important for us, for many people in the world, to continue my grandfather's legacy and his important message. And also, I think that President Obama is a person that we all look to, who's achieved so much and who's done so much, and who's also had to come through a lot.
We were just looking at some video of Harry and Meghan, the prince and princess or duchess. You met with them?
Yes.
What did they say to you?
I actually said to them that I was, very impressed, and I really admired the work that they were doing in, being young activists. They can use their name, to do so many other things, but, they're lending their name to, letting people know that there's an exhibition about my grandfather. So I think it's important that the royals of today are activists, themselves. I think the world needs that, and the world needs us all to sort of get behind, to kind of just, teach the ideals that my grandfather so believed in. You know, humanity, love, peace, dignity of the self, respect for one another. And I feel like Meghan and Harry do that so well.
Well, I think the world needs to be reminded about one of the great leaders of our lifetime. And so this is a really important book. It is out now. Thank you both for bringing it to us, and thank you for coming in.
Thank you.